Join us and discover beautiful beaches, rugged landscapes, pretty towns, desolate mountain ranges that sweep down to stunning lakes, unique architecture, history and folklore, no shamrocks, no shillelaghs, and definitely no shenanigans, just naked Ireland. The Wicklow Mountains are known to have a temperate oceanic climate, with mild, damp summers, and that's exactly what we have today. Rain is very much a part of the Irish experience, but that need not always be a bad thing. It lends drama to the landscape, and as you'll see in this film, it creates an atmosphere that can be very beautiful. And apologies for the window wipers swiping across our film, but again, this is Ireland and rain is to be embraced. So welcome to one of Ireland's most breathtaking natural wonders, the Wicklow Mountains. Just south of Dublin, these rolling peaks and ancient valleys hold stories carved by ice, shaped by fire, and lived by people over thousands of years. The Wicklow Mountains form the largest continuous upland area in all of Ireland. Centred in County Wicklow, they spill over into counties Dublin, Wexford and Carlow. And if you're in Dublin, you might hear them called the Dublin Mountains, but it's all part of the same majestic range. The highest point stands at 925 metres, over 3,000 feet, a summit that often sits above the clouds, and much of these mountains are obscured today, unfortunately, due to the weather. And I think you can just see the shape of the mountains appearing faintly through the clouds there. Most of the Wicklow Mountains are made of granite, wrapped in layers of older rocks like quartzite and mica schist. And then came the Ice Age. Glaciers cut deep glens, carved out quarry lakes, and left behind those classic U-shaped valleys we see today. But it wasn't just beauty the mountains offered, they were also rich in resources. For centuries, copper and lead were mined here, and for a brief moment in the 18th century, gold fever hit. Today you can still find the traces of these mines if you know where to look. Many of Ireland's major rivers begin right here. The Liffey, that we all of course know if you've ever been to Dublin, the Dargle, the Slaney and the Avoca all have their headwaters high in these hills. There's also several waterfalls, including Ireland's second tallest, Powerscourt, tumbling 121 metres down a cliffside. It's one of the most visited natural sites in the country. We won't visit that one today though, but I will be making a stop to the beautiful Glen McNass waterfall later. Blanket bogs, heath and grasslands dominate the uplands, while lower valleys host a mix of coniferous and deciduous forests. So long before tourists with hiking boots and Instagram feeds discovered the Wicklow Mountains, people were living, building, fighting and surviving in these rugged hills, and their stories are wild. These mountains have been home to people since the Neolithic period, that's over 5,000 years ago. Passage tombs, standing stones and rock art still dot the landscape. You can see how much of a wilderness this is. Not another human being in sight. look at this. Now you probably already know that around the 6th century, St. Kevin founded a monastery near here at Glendalough. Over the next 2 centuries, it became a thriving village, spiritual retreat, and one of Ireland's key centres of learning. Of course, success made it a target. Glendalough was looted multiple times by both rival tribes and Norse raiders. Then the Normans showed up and folded it into the Dublin church, and eventually it was burned by the English in 1398, but it was never forgotten. It grew into a major spiritual and cultural hub during the early Christian period. I've made a separate film about that and you can check it out. Glendalough is really an incredible and fascinating place. We're now approaching what's called Sally Gap, a famous vantage point where these 4 roads meet and overlook some astounding scenery. Unfortunately, we'll need a better day to enjoy that, but perhaps you'll come and visit for yourself. Incidentally, now might be a good time for me to ask if you would like the video, if it's been interesting or informative. That helps me out a lot. Something to do with an algorithm. And please also think about subscribing to the channel. Hit the big red button. It costs you nothing, but it's good for Naked Ireland, and it'll mean you have more chance of encountering these videos in the future, especially if you hit the bell icon. So after the Norman invasion in the 12th century, the Wicklow Mountains became a natural fortress for Irish clans like the O'Byrnes and O'Tooles. For nearly 500 years, they launched raids against English settlers, using the rugged terrain as cover. The mountains were the perfect base for guerrilla warfare. From their strongholds, they harassed the English so much that the region earned the nickname THAR, the land of war, not your typical postcard slogan. One of the biggest showdowns happened in Glenmalure, where English forces were crushed not once but twice, most famously in 1580 by Fiach MacHugh O'Byrne, Wicklow's answer to Braveheart. So I'm out of the car again now, and a quick look around since the rain has eased. And you can see we're high up here in the bogland. It's a beautiful, barren bit of countryside that gives the amazing countryside on the west coast of Ireland a real run for its money. And there's a walking trail crossing this road here, just where I've stopped. Walking out here must be a solitary experience, but an incredible experience. Even during the 1798 rebellion, rebels found refuge in these hills. But that resistance faded with the building of the Wicklow Military Road by the British in the early 1800s, which we're on now. Think of it as the original scenic drive with a military twist, complete with barracks and checkpoints. But by the time it was done, the rebellion was over. Talk about being late to the party. Now if you've watched this far, you must be getting something from the film. In which case, I'd like to remind you that you can now make a donation to the channel by buying me a pint. It all helps build the channel and keeps the videos coming your way. Just follow the link in the second paragraph of the description below the video. That'll take you directly to the donation page, and any contribution is really appreciated. By 1841, the Wicklow uplands had a decent population of around 13,000. Then came the Great Famine, and the numbers dropped dramatically as people fled the harsh, unforgiving land. Things turned around again in the 19th century. The railways rolled in and tourism was born. Horse-drawn carriages would ferry eager visitors from Rathdrum into the mountains. Glendalough became the star attraction, and guides were already recommending scenic tours along the Military Road by the 1820s. Today the Wicklow Mountains aren't just a historic treasure, they're a living landscape, protected for future generations. The entire upland area is a special area of conservation and a special protection area under EU law. And in 1991, the Wicklow Mountains National Park was established. And here we are now at the river, just at the top of Glen McNass waterfall. This is a beautiful, serene spot to park up, as there's a lay-by here, and go for a walk or have a picnic. And just a bit further down, we get a glimpse of one of the beautiful valleys in this mountain range. And then we can see Glen McNass waterfall itself. Even on a day like this is stunning scenery. Back in the car. So the Wicklow Mountains are more than just peaks and valleys. They're a place where geology, ecology and history all meet. A place where ancient stones speak, rivers remember and skies open wide. So whether you're hiking to the highest peaks, wandering through Glendalough or just watching the clouds roll over the hills, the Wicklow Mountains are waiting to share their story with you. And I'll share more stories with you too when I see you in the next Naked Ireland.